Welcome, everyone. Hi, ladies. My name's Kelly Harrell. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, I don't want to leave them out. My name's Kelly Harrell. I'm the newest member with the Chamber, Member Services Specialist, covering Orange City, Deltona, and DeBerry. So I wanted to just take a minute to welcome you all. Thank you all for being here. Just a few announcements. We're going to get started in about 10 minutes. Maybe it's 9 now. So if anyone would like to go ahead and get another drink, please do so. And then if all of our speakers could please report over to Sam, we're going to get you all mic'd up. So enjoy. I hope you have a wonderful evening. It's going to be a great, great, great night. Thank you so much.
Go ahead and say something for me.
Hi, how are you? Okay, is this going to be okay? All right.
So you got yours on
how
your
are
ear?
you?
Yep.
Because it's that covered. Oh, I can hear myself.
Glasses, you have hearing aids. Pull this down a little bit more.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Women Empowered Open Books, and how excited we are to be here in person. The last time we were able to gather to celebrate Women Empowered, it was November 1st, 2019, and we had 90 women in attendance and 2 men, and I see our ratio hasn't changed on the men's side. But we are super excited to welcome you. I'm Janet Wilson, Executive Director of the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance, and we couldn't be more pleased to be hosting this tonight and have these incredible speakers with us. So if you'll bear with me, I have a few people to thank for making this night possible and a few people to introduce. I'd like to start first with my powerhouse team at the Chamber. You met Kelly Harrell, who is our Member Services Specialist. And Kelly O'Leary, our Director of Member Services. And where is Terry? Where's Terry? Oh, in the front. Terry Beer, our Business Community Liaison. And Sam Edgar, who doesn't want to be pointed out, but he's our Tech Specialist. And I got to tell you, this is an incredible group, and they're all very passionate about serving the community. We want to thank 3 Button Media, which is Brandon in the back at the sound booth. Thank you. And shout out to Studio Creative Group and Stephanie for her pictures over here. And thank you to West Volusia Tourism for providing the backdrop wings. So just a few people I would like to recognize in the audience tonight. I would like to start by recognizing Amy Gibson. Amy will be our facilitator for tonight's program. She works for Stetson University. She is our board member and treasurer for the Chamber, and she's the Women Empowered Committee chair, so she's a busy woman. I'd like to thank Sarah Hancock, who is our Special Events Committee chair from the Blind Pig. And the Rotaract Club, who many of those behind that bar over there are from, and they have been here helping out. So thank you very much to Rotaract. Okay, and just a few people that I would like to recognize on our dignitary side tonight. We have some of our board members here. If you can just give a little wave. Donna White from Quality Quick Print. Kelly Smith from Prestige Properties. Not sure if Libby made it. She was on the list. Okay. Suzanne Forbes, who is also our board member from James Moore and Company. And I'd like to recognize Georgia Turner, who is the Executive Director of West Volusia Tourism Advertising Authority. We also have Maggie Ardito here from the St. Johns River to Sea Loop. Okay, and for our incredible sponsors, who, as you can see, we had quite a few. There was just some great people that stepped up and said, we want to support this event, so I'd like to recognize those sponsors tonight. So let's give a shout out to our presenting sponsors, Advent Health for Women. Of course, the beautiful Drika Theater. Cobb Cole, PA. Our premier level sponsors, Complete Parachute Solutions, the Studio Creative Group, the West Volusia Beacon, Quality Quick Print, who did all of our amazing signage and programs for tonight. I'd like to thank our partner sponsors, James Moore and Company, Stetson University, Prestige Properties, ViStar Credit Union, Berry Roofing and Redesign, Local Style House, and the Blind Pig Pub. So I hope I didn't miss anyone. I'm going to let Amy introduce you to our storytellers, so I won't take away from her thunder here. But I do want to introduce someone who has a great part in this, is Advent Health for Women. And tonight I am very pleased and honored to introduce Ivy Guardiola Torres. And Ivy is going to say a few words about Advent, and then we have a video to show.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad I'm here and I'm in person. This year has been so, 18 months already, has been so challenging for all of us. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, because I know the program will be amazing. But today I wanted to share with you, we have a saying in our department, and we even wrote it in this notepad that it's in your gift bag when you leave. And it says, when women support women, incredible things happen. And I hope that you get that feeling today, that when we share our stories, we start the healing process of ourselves and with others. And with that, I want to share with you a quick story of a woman that was brave enough to share her story with us and allow us to share with the world. And after that, I'll just let the program begin. But please, before you leave, take this gift basket. It has, I call it your care kit. It has mirror, a file, nails file, and it has screen, sunscreen, and other things, a hairbrush and other things to pamper yourself. Also, of course, I cannot leave without reminding you to get your mammogram if you haven't. Sorry, I have to. Come on. I have to. And then lastly, I wanted to share with you that this story that I'm going to share in this video, actually, this is a story of a woman that was not sure what to do with her life and with the challenges that she was going through. And actually, she reached out to a program that we have. We have women's health navigators. And she really just said, I'm going through this, I'm getting all these messages from different physicians, I don't even know where to start. And the navigators help her create a pathway of health, step by step, guiding her, okay, after you do this, let's do this, and you're not alone, we are in this together, holding her hand. So that program is gonna be also in your packet, because I don't know where you are in your journey of health, and when I say health, it's not just physical health, it's mental health, it's spiritual health. We are all in a different moment in our lives. If you ever feel you want to talk to someone to help you exactly do that, navigate this complicated world of being a woman in this society, please don't hesitate to call that program, because it's a wonderful program and it can save your life. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the video, this little story, and enjoy the program. Thank you for having me today.
Hi, Melina. Hi, Cutie Pie.
When I finally had a healthy, beautiful baby girl born at Advent Health, it was magical. You think, how did I get so lucky? I had 7 pregnancies in 6 years, 1 child, and then the rest were miscarriages. It was really hard on my body, it was hard on my mind, but people don't talk about miscarriage. They don't talk about how to come out of it. I decided to take control of my health. I decided to talk about miscarriage, that you can overcome it and you can feel whole again. I'm Jackie, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, and I think if we can shine a light in this really dark place, it won't seem as scary.
And with that, we start Women Empowered. Thank you again for being here tonight. It's so great to be here in person with you and seeing us all together. As Janet said, we haven't done this event in a while, so it's great to do this in person. Appreciate all those joining us online too. This is live on Facebook as well, so our event is bigger than what you see here in the room. So thank you to the chamber staff. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our storytellers here on the stage with me. I'm so excited about tonight's event. So I'm so glad you all could be here together. So thank you for coming with open minds and open books, and we're happy to fill your glasses here tonight in more ways than one. So I'm glad to do that. And when the clock strikes 7 tonight, I hope you leave feeling inspired and energized, and that you had fun together, just like I did when this group gathered here last night for the setup. We had a good time. And I also hope at the end of the night that you realize that the world is a bit smaller because of community, and a bit bigger at the same time because of the possibilities that exist. And I hope you recognize that your life so far has been this amazing book, and that you can turn to a new page every day. I'll keep my opening remarks relatively brief here. I'm a journalist by schooling, so I particularly adore Barb's shirt tonight, Journalism Matters. Totally agree on that. And I've devoted my entire career, 26 years now, it goes by so fast, to higher education. So I'm currently with Stetson University, as Janet mentioned. So because of these experiences, I believe in the power of story to unite. I believe that the rich diversity of life is a really good thing, and that we all have 1,000 different stories that make us uniquely who we are. I also believe that at the end of the day, across our collective, varied experiences and identities, we are more alike than what we may seem, and that we have so much to connect over and to learn from each other, the mission of Women Empowered. So a colleague and a friend of mine named Mark, who is both a sage and a humanitarian, shared this thought with me recently, and his timing was impeccable, as always. I was thinking about this event and what I might share with you. So Mark says, on average, you will know 1,000 people in your lifetime. That translates to 1 million second-degree connections. It means you are 3 degrees removed from 1 billion people. That means your life is not yours and yours alone. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, your time on this planet will be lived out in the context of an incredibly complex web of interconnectivity. That seems to me to add a bit of gravitas on who we are and how we live. At the very least, there are 1,000 people we are going to touch directly. And the butterfly effect suggests that the echoes of your life will reach infinitely further than that. It also means that whatever you are trying to do, whatever you're trying to learn, to build, wherever you are attempting to go, and the things about which you are dreaming, people who have already been there, done that, are within your network. You have the entire resource and expertise of humanity within your reach. So live today like you mean something to 1 million people, and that they also are a resource to your life. So with that, we start tonight's open book event. Just one page in a thick encyclopedia of humanity and resources within your reach. So I'm pleased to introduce you to tonight's storytellers, the beautiful Althea Shavers, Barb Shepard, Francine Martin, and Miss Joyce Cusack. So we will start with the beautiful Althea over here on my right. So I'll read you her short bio. She will share her story, and then we'll invite your comments or questions in between before we move on to Barb and then Francine and then Miss Joyce. So the beautiful Althea is the unit director of the Lacey Family Spring Hill Boys and Girls Club here in DeLand. She's been a part of the Boys and Girls Club movement for 20 years. And she also worked at the Twinkle Star Montessori School as a teacher, and then later became a director of education for 17 years. She received her education, an elementary education degree, from Bethune-Cookman University. And the award that she loves to brag about is the Straight Outta Spring Hill Making a Difference Award, given to her by the NAACP of her community. She has started a Keeping the Fight Beautiful Althea breast cancer event walk in her community, and she's received proclamations from the mayor of her city recognizing those days as the Beautiful Althea Day. I should remind you too, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we're in pink here. Althea is married to Pastor Larry Shavers, is a mother, a godmother, an evangelist, mentor, breast cancer survivor, COVID survivor, but most of all, she says, a servant.
I've been sitting over here trying to find a way to look cute and get comfortable. Is it working? Okay. I'm Althea Ross Shavers, as she said, and I call myself the beautiful Althea, and you can clap right there. I'm the youngest of 8 kids born in a single-parent home, and I always, I had to learn how to be a talker. Okay, so I am a talker. But I often tell people that I'm the quiet one in the bunch, and anyone know me, they're like, nah. But I'm excited to be here tonight. And I'm so honored to be on the stage with these ladies. I say, man, I finally grew up to be somebody. So it's very exciting. So thank you. And to my sister, Miss Savannah, I say it's you who got me here. And Savannah, I thank you. And I'm glad for the opportunity. I want to share with you, there's so many things I can share with you, but I do want to share with you chapter 46 of my life. And before I do that, I want to give honor to my husband, which is Pastor Shavers over there. Give a little wave, husband, they can see y'all. That's my husband of 35 years. And sitting beside him is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Volusia, Flagler County, Mr. Joe Sullivan. But Mr. Sullivan is, I call him the big boss, but he's my friend, and he's one of my cheerleaders. So I thank the two of you for being here tonight to support me. But I wanted to share with you chapter 46 of my life. Chapter 46 was a happy time for me. I have 3 kids of my own. My daughter, Ayla, was getting ready to graduate from high school, getting ready to go to college in Raleigh, North Carolina. My middle daughter, Aisha, was getting ready to go to her first year of high school at DeLand High. My son, Lyric, my boy, he was getting ready. I prayed for that boy. And someone said, did y'all get a test done to know what you're gonna have? And we was like, no, we believe in God, it's gonna be a boy. And someone said, you're gonna be embarrassed if it's a girl. And I was like, no, God is not gonna let me down. So we have our boy. So our son was getting ready to go to middle school, his first year of middle school. So we were very excited. My daughter, I'm getting ready to go shopping with her to get her prom dress, all of the exciting things for that senior year. But what happened one night, I was in the shower, and I just decided that night, and I said it had to be God, to do a breast examination of myself. When I did it, I felt something that shouldn't have been there that I thought, and I was like, well, what is this? But I just kind of like let it go, didn't, just let it go, because I just let it go. You know, women, we get busy and we just let it go. So it stayed in the back of my mind, and I remember talking to my husband. I didn't want to say anything to my kids. I talked to my husband about it, and then I said, well, breast cancer is not in my family that I know of, but I didn't know much about my family on my dad's side. So I had 2 aunts that were my dad's sisters. So I went to talk to them to ask them about breast cancer, and they assured me, y'all don't worry about it, we were blessed. So we have these fatty tissues, so don't even worry about it. So I said, okay, but still in the back of my mind, it was something still there wouldn't let me turn it loose. So I went in to see my primary doctor, and he said, I'm gonna get you order to get a mammogram done. Chapter 46, that means I was 46 years old. Never had a mammogram. That was my first time going to get one. And boy, did it hurt. But I'm glad that I got it. I'm glad that I did the self-examination. I'm glad that I went and got the mammogram done, because there was something that was there that they said should not have been there. So I remember leaving out of the office, and I went by myself. My husband wanted to go. I said, no, I'll be okay. I can go by myself. But when I left out of the office, I remember going back and sitting in my car, and I cried for 1 hour. Just sat there and I cried. I was like, Lord, what is going on? And I kept saying, but no one told me that I had anything. I just knew something was there that should not be there. So when I went back to my primary doctor, he said, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you to get a biopsy done. So I went to get a biopsy done, and when I went to get the biopsy done, there were 2 weeks in between me getting an answer back. So my husband was going to work, my kids was at school, so I spent 2 weeks just crying in my house. I would cry and I would cry, not knowing what the results was. I was just crying. I couldn't stop myself from crying. And then I began to read my Bible, but I still would cry. And when my kids would come home from school and my husband would come home, I like everything was fine. I had to use the eye drops to clear my eyes up, but the minute they left, I would cry. Then it looked like every movie came on, I would just cry. I couldn't stop myself from crying. I said, okay, God, stop me from crying. I didn't even have an answer. I'm just crying. So after a while, I was called in. My husband and I both went in, and the doctor said to me, you have breast cancer. To hear that C word, my whole world stopped. I don't know what else he said behind it. I just heard blah, blah, blah. I didn't hear anything else. All I knew was, I'm going to die. And if I die, who's going to take care of my kids? I know they have best aunties and uncles and the best dad, but every mother's prayer is to stay here to take care of their kids till they're grown enough to take care of themselves and to see their grands. So to hear that C word was devastating to me. So when we went back in to have a consultation with the doctor, he said to me, what we're going to do is, he said, well, I'm going to talk to you as you were my sister. And I said, okay. He said, I would say to you that you need to get your breasts removed. And I said, okay, I'm going to talk back to you as you were my brother. I don't want my breasts removed. And he said, that's going to save your life. And I said, okay, but let's get a second opinion. Can we do that? He said yes. So he set me up a second opinion with a doctor that was in Gainesville. My husband and I drove to Gainesville, and all this was happening like it was taking a very long time for everything to work together. But when we got to Gainesville, when we walked into this doctor's office, he had this plaque on the wall, and that plaque said, knowing God is half the battle. Knowing God is half the battle. My husband said, did you see that? And I was like, yes. And I was thinking to myself, well, we're in the right place. So when we went in and talked to the doctor, he was telling me what the film had shown him. And I was telling, he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I really don't know. This is all new to me. Everything I have seen has only been on television. And on television, everybody dies. And I said, so I'm afraid. And he said, well, did you see this? I said, I saw the sign. He said, how's your faith? I said, I trust God. I believe in God. And he said, well, if you believe that, you're going to be okay. And I said, okay. So he began to tell me certain things. And I said, well, I don't want to lose my breast. And he said, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you chemo first. And after we give you chemo, then we'll come back and see what's going on. So I had to go in and have surgery. So when I went in to have surgery, they put a pin in my breast so they can mark where the tumor was so they can keep up with it. So I got my chemo done. There was 2 different medications, I believe, that I had to take. They told me that one medication, the first dosage, would be the hardest, and the last 3 doses would be the easy one. But it flip-flopped. Whatever they told me, it didn't work that way. You know, so when I have a very weak stomach, and if people sick, throwing up, I'm like, oh, I've been working with kids 20 years. I can do everything except throw up. Throw up, nah, I can't do that. So I always had this weak stomach when it came to that. But anyway, so I was saying, when I get ready to go do chemo, I'm not talking to anybody in that room. I'm just going to take my Bible, and I'm going to read my Bible, and I'm not looking up at anybody because I don't want to know what's going on. So I went in when we first started our first one. My husband and my sister took me in. When we went in, I did just what I said. I was reading my Bible, and there were a lot of people around getting chemo. I heard them talking, and I'm very nosy. So after a while, I closed my Bible, and I started communicating with the people that was there. I started witnessing to them. So every time I went to get my chemo done, I never thought about me. I was so busy trying to encourage the other women that was in the room that I forgot about my own issues. But then something happened one day. I was at the lowest point in my life, that my sisters came over. My husband called them in. They was trying to encourage me. I just didn't want to hear it. I was ready to throw in the towel. I had no hair because I was devastated. No hair, no hair. Skin color was ashy. It just wasn't pretty at all. Went into the doctor's office. There was a lady that started talking to my husband. She was an old lady. She said to my husband, today is not a good day for her, huh? And my husband said, no, today is not a good day. And I opened my eyes and I looked at her, then I closed my eyes back. I heard her say to my husband, my cancer has spread it. This is what she's saying. And it spread it to my brain. And she's saying, sometimes I don't know myself, and sometimes I don't know people, but I know a God who knows me. When I heard her say that, there was something came into my body, came into my spirit, came into my soul, and I was like, you have the audacity to have a pity party because you have breast cancer, and this woman is talking about something that has spread it to her brain, and she still can't believe? I said, never again. So from that day, I trust God. I said, because I had asked him in the beginning, I said, God, I know you. I go to church. I'm a first lady. I'm married to the pastor. But it got to be more to you than what I know. So be careful what you say. So I say, God, I want to know the more. And when I said I wanted to know the more, that's when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Never knew what stage I was in. Only thing I knew that the doctor kept telling me it was aggressive. Then he kept saying it's very aggressive. Then one day they told us that you're probably not going to make it. But I kept saying, there's somebody upstairs who's looking after me. I just kept saying it. There's somebody up there who's looking after me, and he's going to take care of me. And I said, and I'm going to live here on earth to be able to tell the story to other women, to let them know that when they hear the C word, doesn't mean that they're going to leave. It just means that we got to fight. It just means that we got to trust. It just means that we got to believe in a higher power. It just believes that we have to believe in ourselves. So then I had to go and take radiation. I think I took maybe about 36 rounds of radiation. And by my breast being large and it started burning my breast, I had to stop for a while because it started burning up under the bottom. So it was very hard. My journey was a hard journey, but I met so many women through the journey that I was able to encourage, and they were able to encourage me. So when I did go back to the doctor, and they saw everything that I went through, they went back in. They wanted to see how small the tumor was in my breast. I'm telling you, when they went back in there to check that tumor, it was completely gone. Nothing was there. Nothing was there except the pin that they put in. So they reassured me that I was in remission. And I said, I hear what you're saying. You say remission, I say heal. I said, by his stripes, I am healed. By his stripes, I am healed. So it's been 15 years this month, and I say, by his stripes, I am healed. So when you hear me say the beautiful Althea, when I was at my lowest point, I heard a voice, and there was no one around me. And I was looking around, and it was God that spoke to me. You are more than your hair. You are more than your skin color. You are beautiful inside and out. So that's why I say I am the beautiful Althea. And I tell everyone, my kids who I work with at the Boys and Girls Club, when someone talk about them, I say, it's what you believe in yourself. I didn't say that you have to think I was beautiful. I say that I am beautiful, and that's what I answer to. If you call me something else that I think is degrading or disrespectful, I don't have to answer to that. So I answer to what I want to answer to. So when you say Althea, I back them up and say, what's the other part? The beautiful Althea. So from that, I want to say in my closing, from that story, my faith in God is stronger. My walk in God is stronger. I started a breast cancer walk, like I said, in the community that I grew up in, which is predominantly black, low income, where I come from, that we have our breast cancer walk. The first one we had about 300 people that came to that walk. Just to bring awareness, nothing about money, just to bring awareness in our community, to let them know they need to get checked, to let them know we as mothers and women, we are so busy caring for others, we got to learn how to take care of ourselves. So for the past 8 years, we have been doing a breast cancer walk. I didn't do it last year because of the pandemic, but there was a woman in our community. She was about 30 or 32 years old, going through fighting cancer, going through a journey that we actually, the kids in our community, we did at the club. We walked in the park, and we raised money for that family. And we raised about $2,000 that we were able to give to her. So this year, we're not doing the walk again because of the pandemic, but we're doing a kickball game. And our kickball game is Kicking the Cure, and we have the police department, the sheriff department, Advent Health gonna all come together with our kids, and we're gonna do a kickball game and bring unity in as we bring awareness in for breast cancer with our pink shirts on. So my life has not stopped. I'm gonna keep going and try to encourage other people to let them know that you are somebody. You are somebody. And what my thing that kept me going was a song that my mom sung to me, an old Negro spiritual was I Need Thee. And I'm going to just do this and I'm in. I need thee. Oh, I need thee every hour. I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. And I am the beautiful Althea. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but that was amazing. That is hard to follow. Are you all ready for this? Thank you so much for sharing your story. You know, just a few months ago, you know, I was laying on the table at my doctor's office and thinking, what are they going to say when they come back in the room? You know, do I have breast cancer? I was there for a mammogram and an ultrasound, a second one, and you know, this close, right? And they came back in and said, no, you're fine, you know. But at any given moment, right? I mean, how many of us have been there, right? Whether we've had breast cancer or whether, you know, we've been on the verge of what are they going to say when they come back in the room? So I admire your strength and your spirit. Did you all bring Kleenexes to this? Because we should have had them out, right? So I just want to say thank you for sharing that. And it's amazing and the difference you're making in other people's lives by, you know, one of the things that if you've got paper and pen, write down, get that mammogram, you know, it's October, get that mammogram, right? So any other reaction, any words of support or comments? Savannah's getting ready to say something. Feel free to speak up.
A couple of years ago, I was given a plaque by my aunt and my uncle when things were tough and hard, and it made me, hearing your story made me think of it, and I have that where I can see it all the time. If you're handed it, you can handle it.
I would say about Althea, I always apologize for her family when I'm with them because we take so much of her for the kids in the club. But 2 years later, I got cancer, and she inspired me to get through it. So I may be the boss, but we're a team, and she's a great motivational person. She's great for our kids because she's come up through some tough times, tough situations, and you can be responsible and rise above that. So the message she gives and the family sharing her with us, we appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to introduce Barb now.
All right, Barb.
All right. Barb, if you don't know, is a CEO and publisher of the West Volusia Beacon, a newspaper she helped found in DeLand in 1992. She's a native of Indiana, a graduate of Leadership DeLand, and she's been working in newspapering for 40 years, more than 40 years. She started her career in 1979 at the DeLand Sun News. So she's also president of Conrad Realty Company, which owns the 1-acre historic downtown DeLand complex of commercial buildings that are home to the Beacon, Artisan Alley, and 23 other local businesses. She's been redeveloping the property since 2004 and serves as its property manager. She's married to Jeff. He's a saxophonist, and they have 2 grown daughters, 2 grandsons, and a granddaughter on the way. And she is a fixture in DeLand. Born now.
You done?
Yes. Take it from here.
So first of all, I want to file a complaint with the chamber for having to follow Althea. The beautiful Althea. Okay, just for fun, I'm kind of curious. Would you raise your hand if you or a member of your immediate family has had COVID? Wow. Okay. Just kind of curious, really. I thought that would be interesting. I'm thinking 45%. It's pretty amazing what we've been through, all of us. So, first I'm going to explain this shirt. Thank you for everybody who advised me on what to wear. So I kind of had my thoughts about what I wanted to say, and I kind of timed them at home. You know, it's kind of silly. I'm talking to the cat. You know, I got the timer running. But I wanted to tell you about the founding of the Beacon newspaper 30 years ago. But by the time I got done with the other stuff I wanted to say, I'm already over time. So I thought, well, if Amy cuts me off before I have a chance to talk about founding the Beacon, 3 women, $3,000, at least I wore the shirt. That's really all you need to know. I kind of need to make a confession, because I have been really kind of snotty about these women's groups that the Chamber has organized. I have actually turned down invitations to speak. I mean, there was the FAB, the Females About Business, and now we've got the Women Empowered. And I've really been kind of down on that, because I'm like, so when were we not empowered? And doesn't putting together this female thing, doesn't it indicate that in our hearts we believe that we're somehow less than? So anyway, I just wanted to confess that, but here I am. It has something to do with Amy and the current Chamber staff. They're kind of amazing, so here I am. And
thank you, Barb.
And I know with what I was going to tell you, I know with certainty that I am a woman, because when I was getting ready to come down here, I realized I have 17 pairs of shoes, and I had no shoes to wear. I'm like, what shoes go with this outfit? I can't wear open-toed shoes. I haven't had a pedicure. There's going to be a bunch of women there. So I know I am a woman. I am a cisgendered female. Do you guys know what that word means? Because I just learned not too long ago. It means I identify with the gender I was born with. I'm cisgendered. So I know that. But my message was, I was on a board of directors of a local organization. And another member of the organization said to me, well, you're a rose among thorns. And I looked at the person, I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you're the only female on the board. Oh, it had not occurred to me. That is not how I approach stuff. I am not female forward. I don't think of myself as a woman who is doing this or doing that. I'm Barb. I'm a person. And that's just kind of how I operate. Maybe this is true for some of you. I was going to, now the last thing that most of you expected me to do tonight was to preach to you from the Bible. But I want to read a verse from the first chapter, because it's about books, right? The first chapter of the first book of the King James Version of the Bible. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Now, I think that most of the time we've thought about this. We've thought about God creating the males and the females. But I don't read that way. And I am a language person. And I think that the language people in this room will agree with me. We can read that another way. Male and female created he them, each one of them. I believe that it's more like a spectrum, that each one of us possesses things that we might ordinarily label male, female, that all of us are somewhere on that spectrum, like a sliding scale. I think that oh, wait a minute, before we leave that first book of the Bible, let's think about what we just learned about God. And God said, let us make man in our image, male and female, created he them. So what do we know now about God? If we're made in God's image, God is not a guy. Okay. Just want to get that out there. I mean, okay, because, well, you get it. Okay, so the gender blurring that I see in my life, kind of the, losing the definition of strictly male and strictly female, I think is one of the most exciting things ever. And in my 64 years that I've experienced, I think it is a sign of our spiritual progress. And I know that some of you might be saying, well, oh, that's great, but Barb is only able to have this concept of her identity, not necessarily as female first, because of all the work that's been done over generations by women who fought for equality and women's rights. And certainly that is true. And I would be very remiss if I were not grateful for all of that work that was done and is still being done in that regard. And I have to think that my mom was part of that. I'm sure that I didn't, that she helped me be this way. But I would like to tell you a little bit about an exception to that. I mean, I am a member of the church right across the street, the Christian Science Church, founded by a woman named Mary Baker Eddy. She founded a religious denomination in the late 1800s when in some states in the United States, women were not allowed to own real estate. We were decades away from having the right to vote. I have to believe that even then, that Mary Baker Eddy operated in a similar way. She did not think of herself as a person limited by gender, because I don't think if she had thought that she could have accomplished what she did. So, and furthermore, I think that I'm very cool. I think that it's very cool to operate this way. I mean, I do a lot of things. I do not do lawnmowers, and I don't do very many power tools. But I can fix a toilet, Georgia Wright. I can fix a toilet as well as any man. So, and I think that's very, and I think I'm cool, right? But I used to think I was cool because I was colorblind, right? In my world, I was not racist, and racism didn't exist in my little circle, so I was cool. I had conquered racism, And it was just a matter of kind of sitting back and maybe having a glass of wine and waiting for the rest of the world to catch up, right? Yeah. So over the last year and a half, I have had the awesome privilege of learning that that point of view is really not that cool. That this idea of being colorblind can be extremely dismissive of other people's experience. And I don't want to do that. And I've learned, I'm proud to say that at 64 we can still grow and learn. So I realized that my whole concept of gender and not being female first, maybe that's not as cool as as I thought it was either. You know, maybe I'm being dismissive or diminishing the experience of someone who, as a woman, has been denied opportunity or has been taken advantage of, and I don't want to do that. So here I am. I'm a woman, I know that, but yeah. So anyway, I have learned that maybe I'm just not as cool as I thought I was. That in itself, I think, is something. So do I have a little time to talk about the beacon? Yes. Okay. What do you know?
Far be it for me to cut her off.
What?
Far be it from me to cut you off.
Okay. So 30 years ago, the Daytona Beach News Journal, 31 years ago, the Daytona Beach News Journal bought DeLand's newspaper. And they ran it for a year, and in June of 1992, they shut it down. And I had worked for the Sun News, and I had a friend who had a master's degree in journalism. We were neighbors, we were mothers together, we had little kids together. And somebody, actually a man, pointed out to us, hey, you guys are neighbors, you should make a local newspaper for West Fallujah. So in September of 1992, we decided to do that. We did some research, and in November of that year, we were able to launch the West Fallujah Beacon. So we recruited a third woman who had some idea about money because we were journalists. I mean, we didn't, oh yeah. So we were wise enough to recruit that third person who knew how to pay payroll taxes and things like that. I did not think, okay, here we are, 3 women starting a newspaper. Of course, just like I said, we were just 3 people, but not everybody saw it that way. We shopped our idea around the community. We toyed with the idea of getting investors. We were advised that since we were 3 women, that we would not be taken seriously, that we needed to post-haste recruit a male attorney to help us form our corporate structure, and then immediately we needed to outnumber ourselves on a board of directors, outnumber ourselves with men. I'm happy to say that none of the male attorneys would return our phone calls. So we ended up with a wonderful woman attorney, Astrid DePerry. She was with us at the beginning, and she's still with us today as the Beacon's attorney. And I gotta be honest with you, it's been 30 years. I don't remember the structure of our first board of directors, but I know there were 5 members. I know the 3 of us were members. So I don't think we followed the direction on that one either. So I am delighted, getting back to the beginning, the women empowered. I am delighted now to be the leader of an organization of amazing people whose mission it is to empower you. We feel strongly that shared information and just shared knowledge, whether we're celebrating the successes or struggling with the problems our community faces, that by sharing that together in a news platform, that we are empowering you to be part of the solutions. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful to be here tonight. Thank you.
Barb, thank you. And I love that you voiced that perspective, right? Because you think about, well, women can vote now. Women can own property. We have our names on bank accounts, right? So what's the issue? But, you know, you look back and you're not too many years removed from when this didn't happen. I mean, Barb, you're talking about 1992. So that's crazy. Yeah. So I love that you think about that and remind us, you know, it's still about equity, right? Women are paid less than men at all of these issues. So, yeah. And the other thing too, really when you think about gender on the spectrum, I was introduced to that idea not too long ago either. So I love thinking about that. I love thinking about diversity and equity and inclusion with race, and that's where we need to be. So I appreciate those remarks. Any?
You know, I hope this is not offensive, but my granddaughter, you know, the mayor of DeLand, Bob Apgar, and I were talking about when you get to the form and you need to check the box, you know, are you Hispanic? Are you Black? Are you Caucasian? So my granddaughter, who was born, we're no longer expecting her, she was born September 27th. I'm gonna cry. She's not gonna know what box to check. And that is so beautiful. You know, and I just feel like, I don't know, I hope that's okay. It's just, I feel like we're just blurring everything. And I think it's wonderful I feel like we're all on a mission to become one. And yeah. Sorry.
First of all, Barb, thank you for fixing my toilet.
Yes. Is it running?
Barb, you're my hero, and I think you know you are, because in 1982, when I was at Auburn University, I took a class called Community Newspaper. And we studied community newspapers from all over the country. And when I came here, I saw what a community newspaper is. Thank you so much for everything you do to promote what we do, to promote what everybody in this room does. You touch so many people, and I just love you. I love what you do.
Any other comments, stories to share from out in the room? Kelly.
Why don't we just call her the beautiful, brave Barb?
You got to appreciate that alliteration. Congratulations on the granddaughter. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Miss Francine over here. Hello, Francine. Francine serves as the Community Impact Manager at United Way, Volusia Flagler counties, and you oversee funding process as well as developing a unique donor experience by providing engagement opportunities through advocacy and volunteering. And before this position, she was the engagement coordinator at the United Way. But she also lived in North Carolina, where she founded the Youth at Risk in North Carolina in 2011, and she was the executive director until 2015. It was an organization dedicated to lowering the rate of unwanted teen pregnancies in Greensboro, North Carolina. And before that, she was a vice president at Merrill Lynch from 2003 to 2010, doing all sorts of things. And she has over 30 years of experience in the technology field, working at the New York Stock Exchange, Chase, Chemical, NatWest, and Fleet Banks. She joined Merrill Lynch in 1998 as a technical writer and became head of the Global Technology Service Web Group in 2003. Her passion for helping others, empowering women, and creating a better world started as a young girl. She was tutoring kids in elementary school when she was just 12. She's been a mentor for the Roman Catholic Teenage Youth Group, a past editor for the Nassau League of Women Voters newsletter, an assistant in the ESL Rockville Center Summer School program, and she co-led the New York Black Professional Network and was the Marketing Communications Chair for the Women's Exchange. As a single parent, she raised her only daughter, and she is proud to say that today her daughter is a successful young businesswoman, what we'd hope for all of our daughters. Francine.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, wow, where do I begin? By thanking you. That's where I'm going to begin. Thank you for allowing me to tell my story. Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, the Chamber. And I want to thank all the women who have been in my life, from my mother, my grandmother, very strong women, my beautiful daughter, my beautiful and supportive sister, all my mentors in my life who helped me, loved me, supported me, guided me, smacked me on the rear end when they said, get up, it's time to get up. You have to keep on going, because we all need that at some point in our lives when we just want to sit still, go under the bed, under the covers, and not come out. And sometimes we just need that. I want to share with you two sayings. One, my mother used to say to me all the time, you're a female. And what does that mean? Who here knows what the Fe metal is on the elemental chart? Iron. We are the iron male. That's what my mother would always tell me. We're the iron male. The other thing I want to share with you that I live by is what my grandmother used to tell me, which is, we're all connected. Or the way she would say it is, darling, we're all connected. And so with that, that's how I go through life. That's how I've gone through life. So the chapter that I would like to share with you today is a chapter that starts in a car in North Carolina with the love of my life, Gregory, the clothes that we packed, and that's it. Headed to Florida. I didn't have a job. We stayed with his sister, but we had a plan. And that plan was that eventually I was going to retire and that we would spend the rest of our lives growing old together. So I came down here to Florida and I got a job. Not just a job, a wonderful job. I got a job at United Way. United Way was in my line of my mission to help others. So I was really excited. And then guess what? We got a house. And I said, wow, this plan is really working out really nice. And we moved in, spruced it up a bit, and then he got sick. We took him to the hospital for his COPD and emphysema, which we knew he had, and they discovered he had cancer, stage 4. And so we spent the next 3 years in and out of hospitals. When he would get a COPD flare-up, that meant that was a week in the hospital. And thank God for United Way, because they understood. I would spend the night at the hospital with him, and in New York, North Carolina, I never heard of such a thing. It was like we would laugh and say, we're on vacation, because you get food, you don't have to clean anything, and they take everything away, and you're fresh. And so we would spend a week in the hospital, and I'd go to work and come back, and then we'd go home, and everything would be okay, and he'd get another flare-up. And he went through radiation, or we went through radiation, we went through chemo, and 3 years went by, and we're all 4 months away from retiring at 64, and he gets really sick. And the cancer got the better of him, and he passed away. And then COVID hit. I'll tell you one thing about COVID, what it did for me. Because of the president of United Way, who said, we can work from home. We can do our meetings through virtual meetings. We can carry on. I was able to work from home and grieve for my Gregory at the same time without being around people, because when you start grieving, anything sets it off, anything. And I didn't need people to see Althea crying and crying and crying until there's nothing left. And so I had the opportunity to grieve at home and to work. Then the way life happens, you know, it does happen. I said, what am I going to do with my life? Because now the plan that I had to spend the rest of my life growing old with my Gregory, that wasn't to be anymore. And so I said, well, what am I going to do? I said, do I retire? And I said, no, I can't retire. Do I continue to work? And I said, you continue to work as much as you can, because I heard my mother's voice saying, you are the female. And so I remembered that. And I remembered my grandmother always telling me, you're connected. And I was connected to my sister. I was connected to my daughter. My sister-in-laws were awesome, all of them. They supported me in ways that I didn't even know I needed support in. And so something remarkable happened. A position came up at United Way, and it was just what I wanted. It had purpose to it. It had the ability for me to help the community, help the funded partners who are actually helping the people in the community. When I was in North Carolina, I was one of those nonprofits. I could only touch maybe 5 at a time, because our program was a year long, and I only had like 5 young girls in the community. But now I can touch so many more lives, because now I'm helping those nonprofits help these people. And they're helping not just 5, but hundreds. And then multiply that by all of the nonprofits who we're funding. And so now I'm saying, wow, I have something to live for. I have purpose in my life. So 3 things that I'd like you to remember, and I'm not, as Hannah knows, I don't talk a long time, but 3 things that I'd like you to take away. 1 is that you are the female. You are the iron male. And come on, ladies, when you're in a relationship, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, don't listen. You're gonna do what you're gonna do, right? No matter what. You're going to do it your way, and that's because you are the iron female. And don't ever forget that. The other thing is that, yes, we are all connected, and that you should live in the moment, because this moment is going to pass and never come back again. Even though you'll remember it in your mind, and you will relive it over and over again, make sure that when you're reliving it, that you gave it your all. Because that's what has gotten me through my time, knowing that with my Gregory, I gave him everything. And there's nothing that I regret. And the last thing, we are all connected. Reach out, because all you have to do is ask for strength. All you have to do is ask for help. And it's there. Someone has been through what you are going through. You said that. Someone will be able to say something that will get you out of that place. And you will be able to help somebody at some point in their lives, because you will have gone through it, what they're going through. And always remember, every one of us are going through something. If COVID has taught us anything, we all have a story. So love the people who you love with everything. Don't hold back. Don't hold back on your children. Don't hold back on your spouse. Don't hold back on your friends. Because in that moment, if you give everything, you get the world. And that's my story. It's good. Thank you.
I just want to hug all these women after they finish talking, you know? So a big hug here. So, Francine, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Can you still hear me okay? Okay. Thanks for sharing your story, and we are so sorry about your Gregory. So I think it's a really good reminder, and in this quiet venue, right? It's good to kind of connect with yourself and with others and kind of think about, oh yeah, it's busy out there. The moment you leave, you know, you're going home to kids or husband, whatever it might be, and you're waking up the next morning and you've got that grind. So it's good to remember that, because I have such a hard time with that in my own life, right? I don't know how many of you have kids, but I'm at the stage in my life where I've got a daughter who just recently moved away. You know, she's on her own now, 721 miles away, actually. And it's quiet in my house. You know, it gets to be 7 o'clock, and I'm like, it's only 7 o'clock. You know, how am I filling my time? So it is making me realize, wait a minute, I have given so much of myself to my job and my work that I forgot who I am. You know, what's important to me. So I don't think I'm alone in the room in thinking that. So. Thank you for that reminder. And I love how you've turned everything you've had into something for others. It's that butterfly effect and that connection. So thank you for sharing that. Any other comments? You want to share anything?
Thank you for the reminder. Like she just said, because we get busy. And I'm grateful, and I want to say to my husband for being here. Because like Mrs. Sutherland said, my life is so busy trying to give to others that they're the ones that sometimes get left out. But he never stops. He never stopped loving me. At my worst, he was still there. So I want to say to you, thank you for the reminder for me, because I need to make sure that I don't forget about him. You know, my kids are gone, so I need to remember him, that he allows me to be who I am. I don't try to overshadow him. I remember one of the Stutson students said, hey, Mr. Althea. He just smiled and said, hey. So thank you for the reminder. Because we always busy giving to someone else, and we don't miss what we have until it's gone. So I thank you for that.
I also want to thank you for 12 years ago. My husband went home after 48 years of marriage.
Yep.
It's not an easy road, but there's something within that gives you the strength to go on. And I think that if we just remember, they will be with us forever in our hearts. I don't cry as much as I used to. I smile more when I think of him. I remember the funny things he would say. So I can appreciate that this day too will pass. And there's someone that will provide us with a deeper and better understanding of life. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. You'll be okay. And I'm a witness. It's not my show, it's your time.
Aren't they amazing? Okay, so I can't quite see my paper here because I need a Kleenex. So I'll read Joyce's brief bio. Joyce was a state legislator serving the 27th District in the Florida House of Representatives from 2000 to 2008, and a Volusia County Council member from 2010 to 2018 before leaving both elected seats due to term limits. She's a native of New Smyrna Beach, and she has chaired the DeLand City Commission Citizens Advisory Task Force, served on the Florida Hospital Board of Directors, been involved with public service and civil rights, been on the United Way Board, the DeLand Economic Development Board. She's been a registered nurse and the recipient of the 2001 Florida School Health Legislator of the Year Award. And most recently, how many of us can say this? She's had a building named in her honor, the Dr. Joyce M. Cusack Resource Center in Spring Hill.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Women empowered, lead, connect, and stay engaged. I'm Joyce Cusack, as she said. I'm Joyce Cummins Cusack. You know, I wish I had carried my father's name also. I should have said Joyce Cummins Cusack. And I was seen on the board in the chamber of the Florida House of Representatives, Joyce Cummins Cusack. I just thought I'd shout one up to my dad. I believe that it's not the destination that makes life interesting. It's the journey. And boy, have I had a journey. I'm a native of Volusia County, born in New Smyrna Beach. We journeyed west to DeLand when I was 2 years old. So I'm a product of a single mom, born in New Smyrna in a row house. You ever heard of a row house or a shotgun house? I was born in one. No one was there but my 17-year-old mom and the midwife, I'm told. And here comes Joyce. Look out, world. Here comes Joyce. So I grew up in DeLand. When we left New Smyrna at the age of 2, I guess we were literally homeless. We came to DeLand to live with my grandmother. And so life has not always been easy for me. But I was reared by a mom who thought that I could do anything. And she made me believe that too. If I believe it, I could achieve it.
And that's the philosophy I've had all my life. I've always been a tad bit shy. It's hard for me to come up and talk to people. But I'm getting better. I came up and introduced my stuff to some ladies tonight. All over this state, all over this country, I've had to get out of Joyce's way so the true Joyce could be seen. I want you to know that I was a part of many first times, which all of you, many folk were capable to be first time in many things, but how many was given the opportunity to use that talent that you have to empower you, yourself. And so you have to sometimes get out of your way and let the real you shine through. I went to Woolworth and McCord's right on the corner here. At 16, we organized and decided that we would come downtown DeLand. Why can't we go downtown and have a Coke? Sit on the stool and have a Coke. So we left school that day and we just walked down from Euclid High School. This was the school for coloreds in DeLand. One of the buildings are still there and on that property. It's on the corner of Euclid and Boris. Now, Euclid and Adele. So we walked from there to downtown DeLand. So they were saying to us, here they come, here they come. But we thought that, who are they to say we can't sit down? So we came into Woolworth's and we took a seat. And they didn't know what to do. There's nothing like the tenacity of young people. We could learn so much from them. They will try. And so our parents said that you can't do that. We will lose our jobs by you going. Yes, ma'am. We don't go back down there. The next day, we went right back. I want you to know we went to Woolworth. They closed the counters, and we walked across the street and went to McCord's. Sat down. We didn't have a Coke. They wouldn't serve us. We couldn't have paid for it anyway. We had any money. So this how. We couldn't have paid for it. But we did that until they closed the counters. First in one of the first cities in Florida to have the sit-in demonstrations at the lunchroom counter, right here in little old DeLand. I left here and went to Tallahassee in a colored cab. Colored, that's what it's a taxi. The drivers were all people of color. Couldn't just choose a cab. You had special ones that you could ride in. And I think I had my suitcase, got a cab, and went downtown DeLand on Ohio, I think the Greyhound bus station was. And went to the side that's white only. On the other side, it's colored only. Went to the colored side, sat there, and waited for the bus. Got on the bus and went to the back of the bus. I don't care how many seats was in the bus. You had to go to the back of the bus. So I went on to Florida A&M University on the highest hill in Tallahassee. Now we take them to school in an entourage of whole families go and everybody's just together. My mom says, I have to work, so you have to go by yourself. But you'll be fine. You'll do fine. You had to pay cash. You didn't have checks. So she sewed the money, put the money in a cloth and sewed it in my bra. Don't take that bra off until you get to the registrar's office to give it to them. Yes, ma'am. Because I knew if I took it off and it got away from me, I would be back to DeLand, probably thumbing my way back. Well, that's the story about Florida A&M University. I stayed there for 2 years. Then I met this guy. He was quite a catch. He was from DeLand. I had to spend up my mom and dad's money to go to meet Chuck in Tallahassee. I could have met him in DeLand, but I didn't. And then not only did I meet him, but then I had something burning in the oven. So we came home. And for 2 years, Chuck and I decided, he says, well, I want to marry you. I said, you want to marry me? He says, yes, I want to marry you. I said, well, he said, when do you want to get married? I said, well, we can get married the day after Christmas, because I knew that we would have German chocolate cake and that we would have hot chocolate. And so we got married the day after Christmas. 5 people were there, and the groom and the bride. It lasted until death did we part. So I'm going to fast forward to the time that he went back to school. And I had to work 3 jobs. By now I got 2 babies. And I stayed busy all the time, and Chuck had a little grandma could work, and she used to help us so much. And I wouldn't tell Chuck the hell I was catching, trying to take care of them and the jobs, and because he would have left school. And then I said, our ticket out of this thing was education. So I know I was working at the hospital. I say, if some of these folk can be nurses, I know it can't be that hard. And so I went to school it was called Daytona Beach Junior College, and received my Associate of Science in Nursing. And so Chuck and I and Jan and Julie became a little family of 4 that we did pretty good. He finished his schooling and became a 6th grade teacher at Woodward Avenue Elementary School. I met one of his students today. And then Julie left Woodward, and Chuck left Woodward, went to DeLand Middle School, and Julie came to Woodward, and she taught 6th grade. Now she's a principal out in Lake Helen. Anybody got any kids in their family, send them to Volusia Pines. My baby's the principal there. And so I decided that I went to work at Fish down the street here, where the courthouse is today. I walked in there, I said, I'd like to apply for a job here. Oh, we're not hiring. I said, you're not hiring nurses here? I just read you were hiring them. Oh. Oh, yes, we have. Perception. Don't judge folk by what you see. It may, as Dr. Bethune say, a diamond in the rough. And so I went to work, first nurse of color at Fish Hospital, right down the street. And then I said, well, I stayed there for 5 years, and then I decided that, there is no nurses in industry in this area. So I decided that I'd go to Brunswick Corporation to work as a nurse. And they hired me for 3 reasons. First, I was good at the job. I knew what I was doing. I worked with a surgeon who was a doctor at the plant, so he knew I was a good nurse and I could handle that. But not only that, I was black, I was female, and third, I was good at the job. So I say, hey, you're getting 3 in 1. That doesn't come cheap. So I had a career in industry. I was planning to one day retire and run for city commissioner in DeLand. That was my desire. Raise my girls. Chuck and I would retire, and I work after 20 years and get vested in the retirement system, and I run for city commissioner of DeLand. I always liked politics. I like to empower and make change and be involved and engaged in laws. Because if we don't get engaged in those laws, then they will take advantage of us. Women, empowering women. You must make the laws. So, and I tell them all the time, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. They're going to eat you up. So we have to make them think it's their idea. Excuse me, gentlemen. and so I said, I will decide. Now, my next thing I went to, the opportunity came for me to go to the legislature. I announced in church one day, I said, I'm going to run for the Florida House of Representatives. I'm sure the people in the church saying, yeah. And who would think it happened? See, I was the first person of color in 2000 to be elected to the Florida House of Representatives from this area. That's good. And that's not because of me. It's just that the opportunity presented itself to me. There were others that could have served well, but had not been given the opportunity. We must make our place. We must make our place. Don't waste your time. If it's something that you want to do, don't hesitate. You make it happen. Bob, you're a witness to that. Sometimes you just got to do it. And if you fall down, you just brush yourself off and say, I won't do it that way again, but I'll keep doing it until you have achieved the goals and you've made an impact on life. And then we had another family discussion. Chuck and the girls, I said, I want you to come. We have to talk. I retired from the legislature as second in command in the Florida House of Representatives, as the leader pro tempore of the Florida legislature. And then I came home, and I stayed home for a couple of years. I said, oh, I got to do something. I was involved in a lot of things, but I got to do something else. My work was not done. I decided to run for the county council. And not only did I decide to run countywide. Do you know how many people in Volusia County? It's over 500,000 folk in Volusia County when I ran for the county council. A district and an at-large. Now, why did I decide to run at-large? I don't know. I had to be out of my mind to do that. But it happened. And I tell you that story because you can achieve anything that you set your mind to do. We are leaders of homes, we run schools, we run businesses. We can do anything. We are empowered by a divine hand. And so we can achieve it. So I'm going to close. There's so many opportunities I've had. So many women that have empowered me. Men too. I could not have won without them. But you're the voters. Most homes, the women are the ones that are in tune and know what's going on in the world. So let's take our rightful place. Let's teach our daughters to take their rightful place. They're important. You're important. We can make the world a better place if we will just do it. You can lead. You can connect. Together we can make the world move in a good direction. I'm honored to be here with you this evening. And I want you to know that it's because of you and you who are willing to. I said to my little friend here today, I was leading the beauty shop, and I said to her, don't take any wooden knickers. They don't spin. She had never heard it. What do you mean? So that was a lesson for Miss Kimmy. Thank you, Miss Kimmy, for being here. But that's what we must do. We must educate. We must spend our time making this world better. And we must, at all costs, love each other just because. Just because. And you may learn something if you get to know somebody that may not be your next door neighbor. Get to know folk. That's hard for me, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Meet a friend at least once a week. In the grocery store, wherever. And make this world better by connecting with each other. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Joyce, for sharing your wisdom. It's so good to have you here tonight. Thank you. I know when I look at my own life and my daughters too, right? You always think about the next generation and what you can do and what you can impart. And so, they're not always the most extroverted, and so I have to tell them, because this is what I've learned in my own life, you have to take up space. You have to feel like you're ready and you have something to say and something to contribute, because we all do. There's something within us that we need to share. And I love the story that you got involved in changing the laws because you don't want to be on the menu, right? So to think about, you need to go beyond yourself and help others. So I thank you for that.
And I have to tell you this story. I was on a campaign trail once, and my little nephew, he was with me. He was ready to have lunch, and I said to him, DJ, we walk one more house, and we're going to stop, and we're going to have lunch. I said, so you ask the lady that answered the door, tell her who you are, and give her some literature. And so he says, okay. So he goes up, and the lady answers the door, and he says, good morning. I'm DJ. Will you vote for my auntie? And the lady say, what is she running for? He said, president. I thought that was great. Out of the mouths of babes. Maybe a president here one day.
There you go.
He didn't know what I was running for. All he knew he wanted to eat lunch.
Anybody want to share? Make a comment? Yeah.
I would say I appreciate Ms. Cusack. All the years I've known her, she's always tried to
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Thank you all so much for sharing, because I know it's hard to kind of peel back the layers and keep it together while you're still trying to stay on point and present. But I find that sometimes when I leave church, I wasn't necessarily fed. And, you know, I come here tonight not expecting much of anything, and each of you have fed my soul, and I just thank you.
You make me cry. Because it's worth it. You know, it's worth it. And if we look out for each other, if we feed each other and not pull each other down, but encourage each other, because what you're strong in, I may be weak in, but what I'm strong in, you may be weak in. If we come together, how we can make a difference, how we can change this cruel world, how we can teach our daughters and our granddaughters that they are somebody. They are somebody. I always tell Miss Q that I'm gonna grow up and be just like you, and she always have that encouraging word for me. When I was sick with COVID. I like to die again. Then I keep saying, God got something in store for us. If He keep restoring, there's something here. To be here tonight, to see each of your faces, we are somebody. I don't care what nobody say. We are somebody. We are empowered. No one can stop us but ourselves. And we're not going to stop. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. And that's what we can do. So what you said, you encouraged me. I feel so good tonight. I've been trying not to cry because I want to hold these lashes. But it's been more than enough. I'm so grateful for you women who put this on. Continue to do what you are doing. Continue to do what you're doing. It means the most. And to have these two men here, God placed them here for a purpose tonight. For a purpose tonight. They know what we can do, but now they really see what we can do. Yes.
Thank
Oh, if I may, echoing on Mr. Shaver's here about the boys, being a single mom of a 15-year-old son, we talk about empowering our girls. I have three beautiful nieces that I've empowered over my life, but having a son to empower him on how to treat a woman, yes, how to respect a woman, and how to raise him up right, to cook, to clean, to take the trash out, to do his own laundry, you know, those things too. That we empower our sons as well is a big thing. I get goosebumps. So yes, and then last thing for me, I'm going to say I lost my mom in April. Her big mantra for me growing up all my life was chin up, knockers out.
I just want to circle back real quick to something I said earlier, and this will be my closing remark, right? Live today like you mean something to 1 million people, and that they also are a resource to your life. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. This was an incredible experience. I know I'm teared up and have definitely been empowered tonight, and I looked forward to this for us getting together. And with these amazing women here tonight, I'm in awe. So thank you all very much for being here. It was an honor. And before you leave tonight, enjoy some time together, but we have a couple of gifts for you out there on the table. Be sure to take them with you. And did you have, oh, okay. All right, thank you everyone and have a great evening.